But so to answer your question, technology changed.
How did the way they approach the drums, like just as an instrument, as a rhythm section, did stuff like that really change quite a bit?
In the different eras, you mean in other words from the 70s to the 90s?
74 to 84,
You know, the playing, certainly Jim Keltner was the drummer on those.
the drums that show up would change a lot. That kind of
No. In fact, I think a lot of drummers to this day in 2008 play vintage drum kits, you know, or seek them out.
Yeah.
You know, seek out 60s and 70s vintage kicks and snares and things like that. You know, there's a lot of new drum kits that I've recorded in the past year that have come out are amazing sounding too, because the technology of how to build the shell and you know, what to build the shell from. That technology has changed, and new drum manufacturers have incorporated that new technology. And I think there's a lot of great sounding new drum kits that are out there. But I think a lot of seasoned drummers still have, it's like that old Les Paul guitar or something that guitar players like to have a vintage Les Paul. It's like vintage drum kit. You know?
There wasn't anything they were doing to the kits in the 80s, like
no, the kits.
Like the tape and
The kits have you know, literally the kits have remained the same. One of the last things I probably want to leave everybody with is the fact that it is so much, a great sounding drum kit is so much the result of a great drummer. A great guitar sound is so much the result of a great guitar player. You can have, you know, all the amps that have been created, Marshalls and Fenders and everything, A to Z, and have them all lined up. And if that guy doesn't have the chops, doesn't have that gift in his hands, there's no mic and no amp and no guitar that's going to give you that amazing guitar sound. And I've witnessed it. I did a record with Sammy Hagar. Now, Sammy's a decent guitar player. Did a record with Sammy, and Eddie Van Halen was playing bass on it, and we had this thing called a Bradshaw rig that you probably remember, Bob, right? Everybody had them. I guess it was maybe the late 80s or early 90s, and Steve Bradshaw, was it? Bob Bradshaw, and these racks, they were racks of amps and processing equipment, flangers, phasers, delay lines, et cetera, and you basically had a pedals board that, you know, you want more sustain, boom, there it is. You want harmonizing on that more sustain, boom, there it is. And it was amazing. And if you were really a adept guitar player, like Eddie was, you could get some amazing sounds out of it. In this particular session I was on, which was Sammy's solo record before he became part of Van Halen, Sammy was out there and he's tweaking the Bradshaw rig, and he's trying to get some sounds out of it, and Eddie's sitting in the control room next to me laughing, and I'm like, could you please go out there and, you know, sort this thing out, because you know how to. There's so many knobs in that rig. I don't want to turn everything to 11, you know, even though maybe that's what it needs, but please go out there and help him. So he goes there, okay, and he's laughing, and he walks out there and he takes the guitar off of Sammy's neck, puts it around his own neck. He goes over and he kind of goes like that to a couple of knobs, starts playing, and it was like God. It was unbelievable. It had top, middle, and bottom. It had everything. And I think at the time I just had a 57 on a Marshall cabinet. And it was like, my jaw dropped. I was at A&M, and I just was one mic, and I just went like, holy shit, that's amazing. Don't touch anything. I gotta talk about it. Don't touch anything. It sounds amazing. And Eddie goes, it sounds good. It sounds amazing. Come in, give Sammy back the guitar. He takes the guitar off, puts it over Sammy's neck. Sammy starts playing. I go, what did you touch? What did you change? He goes, I didn't change anything. I didn't change anything. It sounds like shit again. What? Had nothing to do with the rig. It was the same guitar. It was the same amp, it was the same mic, it was the same console, the same fader. Nothing had been touched. It was all right here.
I want to jump in on that note because he wouldn't do this. I learned that working with Dave. I'm in the gear business, as a lot of you guys know, and I was always in search for the magical black box. Got into the business, bought all the boxes, you know, was always disappointed. And that applies to you too, because we've done things where I'm assisting him and I come home in my head and I put the multi-track up and I know the same console, I know exactly where it is, watching, trying to learn. So that applies to what you do, and thank you so much for coming tonight and sharing your stories with us, and really appreciate it. Thanks for coming. We got beer back here.
I'm going to have a beer now.
Yeah, I've got a pee actually. I've got like 3 bottles of water.
Well, thank you, everybody. Hopefully there was something in that 2 hours of rattling away that you can walk away with some interesting stories.